Greetings Commanders, this is KreeKree here. Today's video I'm going to give you a guide about Robigo runs. I'll give you a couple of builds that you can work with and show you the best way to make the most out of your time when you're doing Robigo runs. First off, we'll start with the Python build. Now I have put multi-cannons and pulse lasers all gimbaled in the hardpoints, although it's really not necessary, but you can put them in there if you feel like you need a bit more security, because a lot of the passengers that you'll be taking are criminals, so keep that in mind. For the utility mounts, I've put a heatsink launcher, and there's a very good reason for that, but I'll get into that a bit later. Chaff launcher, of course, for the extra bit of protection, and same with the shield boosters. Notice that the shield boosters are E-rated, but this is basically just so that you do have a bit more shields, but at the same time, the weight of them, which is what we're going for with this build, with everything being quite light, so that you have a higher jump range. So keeping them at E will definitely help you out with that. Now with the core internal, of course I've gone with lightweight alloy, again with keeping things light. The power plant, I've gone with a 5C because you won't need anything higher than that, and also it is quite light compared to the other power plants that are available. So with the thrusters, I've got a 6D, so that's again with keeping everything light, but also you're able to boost away from any stations and anyone that might be scanning you. Now with my frame shift drive, I have a 5A. I have engineered this. It kind of is a little bit needed because you need to have at least 30 light years jump range just to ensure that your, time is money kind of mindset is there, because you want to only be able to get to the target system, which is 𝗬𝗧𝗔𝗬, in about 2 jumps. You can do it in maybe an extra 1 or 2, which I do have another build for if you're not able to do any engineering, but we'll get to that build a bit later on. Once again, life support is D-rated just for the lightweight build that we're going with here. The power distributor again is a 6D, again keeping it light. Sensors D-rated, once again just keeping things light. Now as for the optional, so this is where you'll be putting your passenger cabins. Now this is where a lot of people may disagree, but I feel that having your first class 6 as being a first class passenger cabin, and then having the rest of your passenger cabins being economy class. This is just so that when you do pick up your passenger missions, if there are passengers that demand first class, then you can pop them in there. Now the other 2 class 6s are economy class, as I had mentioned. The next 2 class 5s are economy as well as the class 4. Now to add extra in terms of jump range, I have put on a Guardian frame shift drive, which is why my jump range is 35 light years. Now I've put on a shield generator as a 3D, again keeping with that theme of keeping things light. Now you don't really have to, but I have put in a class 2 economy class passenger cabin here. This is just so I can take an extra couple of people onto my trips. But if you would like, instead of having another economy class passenger cabin, you can swap this out for maybe a Super Cruise Assist flight assist module. And then of course the advanced docking computer, just to make it a bit easier for you. Now I'll go on with the second build, which is the engineering free 𝗕𝗏𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗏. So with this one it is a bit different, so starting with the hard points, there are no hard points. I'm going to leave this as kind of defenseless in a way, but as I've mentioned earlier, the likelihood of you needing any hard points is very, very low. Now, as for the utility mounts, I've just put in a heatsink launcher just so that you are preparing to jump. You can do it right next to the star to once again increase that efficiency. Pop the heatsink and you'll be on your way. For internal, this is going with the same theme as the Python. So of course lightweight alloys for armor. Power plant is a 3A because you won't need anything more than that. Thrust is 5D and naturally a 5A frame shift drive. And as I mentioned, this is not engineered. Life support 4D, again keeping it light. Power distributor 6D, sensors 6D. Now in your optional, going with the same kind of theme as the Python, the first class 6 is a first class passenger cabin and the rest are economy class. So all of the grade 5s are economy, class 3 is an economy as well. Now to help you get that extra light year jump range, I have put in a Guardian frame shift drive booster that does give you that minimum of 30 light years. However, you can go without any Guardian modules or engineering. This just means that your jump range will be about 25 light years, which means that you would probably need maybe 1 or 2 extra jumps in your trips between Robigo Mines and 𝗬𝗧 to get to the Sirius Atmospherics tourist beacon. And a class 3 D-rated shield generator, of course keeping it light. I've added a Super Cruise Assist and advanced docking computer just to make it a bit easier for you, but these aren't really necessary. Now to show you how to do this in your 𝗕𝗏𝗢𝗡 efficiently, let's head to Robigo Mines and get this money making started. Now that you're in the starport services, what you need to do, if you haven't done this before, in order to get passenger missions, you go to the mission board, passenger lounge. Now you want to make sure that you get missions from all of these people. And the best thing to do is that make sure that the destination is all Sirius Atmospherics, starting with obviously the most credits that you will receive. Now a lot of these will be VIPs, as you can see with the crown next to the briefcase. That means that they want their own cabin, but that's okay. I know it means that you won't be able to take as many passengers in your first run. The higher reputation you get with the factions, the more that they will pay in the end. Now one thing that you will notice as well, I'm not too sure if this is in Horizons, but in Odyssey, if you have a mission that goes to one particular spot, you'll see that there is a blue planet symbol right next to the destination name. So that way it's easier for you to pick out whether or not these people are all going to the same place. As soon as you leave and boost and go downwards, typically that is where the jump spot will be, so you can get there faster. Okay, now as I said before, as soon as the target is not shielded by the sun, you pop a heat sink and start to charge to get to the next stop without actually overheating your ship.
3, 2, 1. Incoming mission critical message.
Okay, now go to your navigation, go towards 𝗬𝗧 A5, get into Super Cruise for that one, Super Cruise Assist if you like. Now because we're not actually going to the actual planet, there is a tourist nav beacon nearby, so what you've got to do is that go to your first left panel and you'll see that in navigation, when you get close enough, it'll pop up underneath 𝗬𝗧 A5, target it, and then the Super Cruise Assist will help you get there. Okay, now that we're back at Robigo Mines, we need to drop off our passengers. Now what I would suggest is that if you're not allied with the factions yet, I would suggest collecting either reputation if you can. Second to that, I personally would go with engineering mats. Otherwise, if it's like this, or it's just influence, which is not quite useful for you unless you're doing some background simulation, then just go with the money. Now as a side note, once you are allied with Sirius Corporation and you've impressed them, they will give you a permit that gives you access to the engineer Marco Quent. And once you've impressed them, he unlocks Professor Palin for you. As for the build that is without engineering and without the Guardian tech, I will link that in the description below. But until then, here is a list of ship builds that you might be interested in. I'll see you over there, Commander. Fly safe.